Hello everyone and welcome to the Art of Teaching Art. Today I'm going to be showing you how to draw lips. Now we're focusing on just the closed mouth forward to the camera, not including any teeth or kind of other expressions first of all. So in this example portrait here, you can see the lips. Now what I've tried to do is add a range of details and highlights, but also dark areas as well. I want to create layers to create the texture that you see in the lips. Now, when it comes to lips, just like noses, everybody has a slightly different shape. You've got fuller lips like this, where you can see a lot more detail in the lips and highlights. And then you've got thinner lips like this, where you have got less detail. And then especially if the lips are wearing makeup, especially dark makeup, you're going to end up with a lot darker lips. And what you want to try and do is aim to get that contrast still, because you don't want to just colour the whole lips dark, because that's not going to make it look realistic. Drawing this kind of thing where you've got teeth showing is a little bit more tricky, just because you will then have to think about the teeth and how to get that realistic look. So I'm going to be drawing from this picture here. I feel like this is a good image because I've got a lot of detail that I could add to the picture. So you can see with the lips here, you've got a highlight, some different shadows, and then also the lines that come into the lips, which is going to help it to look realistic. So the equipment I'm going to use are a range of pencils. I'm going to start with my HB pencil, and I have got the mechanical pencil to add the fine details to the lips later on. So starting with the shape of the lips. Now, I like to start with the top of the lip first of all, and then work downwards. There's no kind of easy way to do this, although you might see tutorials of here's an easy way to draw lips. Actually, the best thing is to look. Now, as we know, we've got a slightly curved line in the center here. It could be a slightly down curved line. And then on these lips, the bottom lip and top lip look fairly the same size, but it's worth checking that before you start your drawing. So I'm going to start with this point in the middle of the Cupid's bow here. And these have got larger, it's a larger Cupid's bow, slightly diagonal, not rounded. So I'm going to draw that in first of all. And then it rounds down. So I'm going to bring that line outwards. Now we're thinking about the actual size of the lip. So the bit that I've drawn so far is just the Cupid's bow. So I can use that as my judgment point. So the Cupid's bow measures 1, 2, 3. Just over 3 times across the lip. So I can use that to measure to the end of the lip. So there's my Cupid's bow. I've got that about right on that side. And then coming down on this side. Okay. So we're looking at whether it's a curved line or a straight line on either side, and then we're drawing this bottom line in here. Now the width of the lip, I would say, is probably about the same as 1/2 of the Cupid's bow, so I can measure that on my drawing to see where that comes. Start in the center and then curve upwards, and it does creep up a little bit in the center bit. Not all lips do that, but these do. And then again to the end here, curving round. So I've got a slightly curved line, and then my lip on top. I might just extend it out a touch on this side just by eye. I think that's going to be a bit better of a shape. And then we're coming down with the next bit. So if we measure, this bit of the lip is about the same as this bottom part of the lip. So you can see that is it kind of a flat line across and then curves upwards either side. So measure that down here. So it comes about there. So there's a flat line, and then where it curves up is just after the Cupid's bow, so just after this bit here. So we can curve upwards and round and curve on the other side. So that is my basic shape to begin with. Then we want to start to add some detail. So any prominent lines I want to add. Now, if you're looking for a kind of smoother look, then you don't necessarily have to add these, but I always think that it adds the realistic detail to add them if they're there in the picture. So the first ones that I can see come up either side of the Cupid's bow kind of here, and that actually causes the lip to lift slightly in the middle there. I can see another one just coming in here, and a tiny bit here, but that's about it. There are some smaller lines there, but I think I'll do those after shading. Then on the bottom lip, I've got a line that I can see there in the middle, and the reason I can see it is because it breaks the highlight that comes across the bottom of the lip. And then another one here, a curved line coming round here. That's very important to help it look 3D. Another line here and just a little one here. And then you've got one the other side, so that one curves slightly as well. A more prominent line here. You can see the highlights added where it's added, so just draw the darker bit in either side. Then I'm going to think about where my highlight is. So I've got a highlight in each of these areas, so I'm going to draw those in as I see them, and then those will be left white, a little bit at the end there. There's not really a highlight on the top lip, but there is a definite highlight on the bottom lip, which is what you'll usually find when you're drawing these kind of things. So I'm going to draw in where that highlight comes. That's just going to help me when I'm doing my initial shading. I can always add more detail later. And there is a little bit of a highlight coming here. Now we're going to start with our shading. So I'm going to do kind of a mid-grey tone or a lighter mid-grey tone across the whole of the lips, first of all, apart from the highlights, and then I'll start to add in some of the darker areas. I do it slightly differently on this one because actually there are far fewer darker areas on lips, in this picture especially, than there are lighter areas, so it's easier to start with the bulk of the lighter areas first. So I'm going to shade in one direction nice and neatly, probably going across the picture, trying to get it nice and even and smooth across the picture. Next, I'm going to start to add some of the darker areas. So I'm going to start with the 2B pencil to do that, and then the top lip. So I've got a little bit of darkness on the Cupid's bow, which I'm just going to add in. I'm going to use little sketched lines to do that. And then come down to the side, there's more darkness. Now with this, you can see there's a dark line, and then it mostly moves up onto the top lip. So I'm going to add in that darkness, so with a really sharp pencil, because you don't want to be adding too much. You don't want a really concrete line there as well. Paying attention to that, the mouth where it curves. And then add in some darker areas, so I can see a darker area here. The lightest area is in the centre here. So there's the start of my top lip. I'm going to work on top to add some of the creases into the lip just with the mechanical pencil. So just really touching finely, adding a little bit of detail where I can see it. Just altering that shape of the lip just slightly. So with these lines, it's just important that you keep them kind of rounded and quite faint. You want to give a texture there, but you don't want to draw them in really explicitly, like really pushing with the lines that are there. You want them to just create that texture in the drawing. So I'm a lot happier with that. And then I'll just use my B pencil to just blend in those tones a little bit more in a circular motion. And then moving on to the bottom lip as well. So we've got the highlight, which we've already added. So we're going to start with the darkest area. So we have got a kind of dark shadow underneath the lips. Just a little bit. That's going to help give us the edge to the lips. And then we can start to bring in some darker areas. So I can see there's kind of a dark line coming here and here. So I'll start to add that in and blend that in. And then between each part where the highlight comes on the bottom of the lips, I'm going to shade just upwards slightly. And then use the flicking motion to just blend in that highlight. We can create the shadow in that gap in the lips in the middle, just by softly pressing with my pencil. And then my last step is to kind of add those creases in before smoothing this bottom area. So just with the mechanical pencil again, I'm drawing in those crease lines. I'm looking carefully at the shape of them. I think that's really important. Do a lot more creases in this bottom lip. And then I'm just going to work with the B pencil, or you can work with your HB pencil to just blend over, and I'm just going to softly go over just the edge parts of the highlight just a little bit, just so it doesn't stand out quite so much. And then just blend with a circular motion to just make sure it all blends in. So again with this, we're noticing details. We're taking our time step by step to add our details as well. We're making sure that the kind of shape is accurate as we work, and adding lines to create texture on the drawing as well. And there are my lips. Thank you so much for watching, and have a really great day.